What's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate 2 Reviews, and today we're talking about bike racks. Now, I've owned a couple of bike racks. You put them on the back of your truck, car, SUV, you can carry some bikes around. But, it feels like, Dr. Seuss or Willy Wonka designs these bike racks, so they all have these like crazy shapes to them. And that's because, of course, bikes have tons of different shapes. I've got my wife's and my bike here. This is my mother-in-law's bike, and as you can tell, there's a lot of different shapes going on here. They don't all attach to a bike rack in the exact same way. So that's why you're going to see a ton of different types of bike racks out there. And I've tried out a couple of them. I tried out this Max style bike rack here, and I did like that one a lot, but it had two big issues with it. Of course, it was very simple, very easy to put together, very, straightforward with, you just put the bikes on right on this top bar here, and you're good to go. However, though, that bike rack really, if you had it by your tailgate, you could not open your tailgate without taking the entire bike rack off. That was a big issue there. As well as I could not put my mother-in-law's bike on there because, as you can tell, there is no straight bar here to put that on. So unfortunately, it could not carry all the bikes we actually needed to carry. So big issue there. All right, so I've got one bike already on here. I got my bike here on the back. Relatively easy to put bikes on and off here. As long as of course, you can lift these bikes on and off. Getting the first one on here is kind of tricky because you've got this bar right here that you can't actually move. It just, it moves left and right when you want to transport this thing with no bikes on, but you got to put the bike on coming in this way. Putting in the last bike here is actually a lot easier. All you got to do is put it right on here. You adjust the bottom part for the tires, and then you can, of course, put this on here. I think it's stable enough for, of course, going a short distance, and they do include a couple of, straps themselves, but I really don't trust those. They don't really feel super high quality. I threw them out right away, and I'm just going to use my own ratchet strap because they're cheap enough. They're $10 for a 4-pack pretty much anywhere, and they hold a lot more weight that you can get, so that's what I'd use myself. But these should be fine for going, about an hour or so. It is stable enough. If I'm going any farther than that, I'm definitely going to ratchet these all down, and they should be good to go that way. All right, so to take a bike off, it's basically the exact same thing, but in reverse. All you gotta do is loosen up the center here. You pull that up, and then the back one is the hardest one to get off. Of course, I got the lightest bike here, so this makes it very simple to get this thing off, just like that. Okay, so my old bike rack had an issue where, of course, it stuck straight up here, and it didn't really lean down or do anything else. So that meant you could not get into the tailgate even with this thing up. However, though, this bike rack is pretty unique because it actually allows you to fold it up actually somewhat quite nicely here. So I can put this pin back in, and then goes right over here, just like that. So I can actually get my tailgate down now without actually having to worry about this bike rack being here. Comes mostly down there, which is actually pretty nice. This bike rack also actually folds up too. If you want to conserve space even more, I can then actually fold this up into here, and just like that, I now actually have a bit more space. I can back in nicely. It's actually a decent amount of extra space there. If you're wondering, yeah, this bike rack does remind me of the Young bike rack actually quite a bit. It's about twice the price here. I will say this one, it does have some differences, of course. These are a lot smaller in a lot of the cushioning aspects on this thing. Is it worth the additional $100 or actually double the price? Maybe. But for what this does, at least all bike racks will at least get your bike from A to B. That's the nice thing. For the most part, I've been able to find a way to work around no matter what type of bike I've got, sort of. But at the end of the day, for $100 or less on Amazon, a lot of these bike racks can really just get the job done. That's nice. You need 2 bikes, 3 bikes, 4 bikes. How many do you need? And honestly, what I would do, if I'm looking to transport my bikes, I look at the frame, how I want to transport that bike. Do I want to have the bike sitting down like this? Do I want to have them hanging off the frame? And I'd buy a bike rack based on that. At the end of the day, I think the Vevor does a pretty good job for about $100 on these bike racks. This thing actually is pretty decent. It holds a lot of different types of bikes because of how, I guess I could say intricate it does actually to be able to compress the bikes down into, of course, these large, 5-inch tire tracks here, tire wells, you could call them. And it's going to be able to transport your bike pretty much no problem. Of course, because you can get any bike into this spot here, you can basically just ratchet strap it in if you can't somehow get it to fit onto this thing, which is really cool. Of course, the other one that I had where you can only basically clip it into the frame, basically you set them on top of the frame there. Yeah, it held 4 bikes in about the same amount of space as this one. Problem is that if you had a weirder bike, like my mother-in-law's bike, you're not going to be able to get that really in there any really good way. Whereas this one, I can pretty much get any bike I want to get into there, and that is actually a pretty cool feature there. as well as being able to pull my tailgate down too, which to pull my tailgate down, I have to pull the entire bike rack off for the other one that I had, and that was just not a great solution for me at all. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about bike racks, happy to answer some questions for you. Of course, you know, it's like, who designs these things? There's so many different weird designs when it comes to these. I will say this one, to assemble it was pretty tricky. It took me definitely about an hour to assemble the whole thing. If you want something easy to assemble, I definitely probably recommend the other one that I had, that Max one. That was super easy, almost right out of the box. You're ready to go with that thing. But if you got different types of bikes they really can't, you know, put on the frame, this is definitely the one you want to go with, because they're all about the same price point. That's actually pretty nice, makes it very simple. You can just buy both. You know, if you don't know which one you need, buy them both. You know, if you got a bunch of bikes, you don't know what you're going to carry, you got maybe 4 different types of bikes, you know. I still own the other one too, so in case I got to carry just 2 bikes, 3 bikes, 4 bikes on the frame, I can do that. If I got to carry my mother-in-law's bike, maybe my wife's bike, I can do with this thing, no problem, and throw a 3rd bike in the bed. It's really not that big of a deal. So other than that, guys, I think this thing is a pretty decent deal from Vevor. It's not the best design. I don't think there's actually really any perfect design for a bike, you know, rack that you can carry on your truck. But this one does the job pretty well. It's pretty cheap as well too. And, you know, I would say just get some ratchet straps for it if you're going to carry stuff longer distances. Give yourself a better, you know, secure mounting position for those bikes in there. So guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great day and stay safe out there.